Welcome back to the Dragon Den. My loyal Dragonites, King of Dragons 5000 is here with an action figure top 10 list. I normally don't make lists like this because I find every figure has some redeeming qualities. However, this year I do want to make a list of the most disappointing figures that I've had a look at. So without further ado, this is the top 10 most disappointing figures of 2023. Coming in at number 10, we have the Batman from Mafex. Despite the fact I love Mafex, this figure has almost everything you need for a great action figure. Great accessories, great paint apps, and even a fantastic cape. This figure should be on most top 10 lists. However, his chest has this really giant gap to it, and his lower legs could have been much better. I have no idea why they did what they did with his lower legs. If they had just gone the normal route with the lower articulation, it would be so much better, but we got what we got, and unfortunately the Batman makes the top 10 list of disappointing figures. Coming in at number 9, we have another figure that should have been great, but is held down by several factors. The Mezco Justice League Flash is a great example of how a good figure can turn sour just by the design itself. If they had made this figure just out of plastic and removed all the fabric, the articulation probably would have worked much better on him. However, because he does have limited articulation range and can't really get into great running poses, he makes the top 10 disappointing figures. Coming in at number 8, we have the SH Figure Art Super Saiyan Trunks. Loose neck connections, arms that fall off really easy, backwards ab joints, and of course those really loose legs. It's really hard to find anything good about the quality on this figure. Despite having great paint apps and great detail, Trunks here is just riddled with too much quality control, and that's why he makes my disappointing list. Coming in at number 7, we have the DC Multiverse Collector's Edition Action Comics number 1, Superman. Reusing that infected Superman body was probably the worst choice McFarlane could have gone with, because you can see the sculpt in his shoes and it does make this rather disappointing. Not only is the sculpt on his torso completely wrong, but the legs also kill this figure. Despite having a great head sculpt, I think this has to be one of the most disappointing figures we've seen in 2023. Coming in at number 6, we have the DC Multiverse Two-Face Batman. This figure could have been good with its own dedicated sculpt, however reusing the Hush body is quite questionable, and the fact that we didn't get a regular Two-Face is just mind-boggling. If McFarlane had gone the route and given him a more unique body for this figure, I think it would have been much better, but because he's mainly reused with just a new head, he makes the top 10 list of most disappointing figures. Coming in at number 5, we have the Medicom Toys Mafex Loki. This Loki has fantastic sculpt and fantastic paint apps, but is held down by various issues. A single solid piece for his torso, single jointed knees, and then that questionable ball joint in the bicep makes him quite hard to display, especially when his arms keep falling off. And despite being a Mafex figure, I do have to rank him this low on the list. He is rather disappointing. Coming in at number 4, we have another Medicom toy, this one being Thor. For one, he has a giant chest cavity that makes the Batman jealous, which is not a good look for Thor. Add to it, he is scaled really small. Thor here is a tiny figure. Even for classic Thor, he should be a little bit taller. Add to it, his hair makes it really hard to even pose his head, and that's nothing we've seen out of Mafex. Normally we get some dynamic hair sculpts with them. Lack of posability in his head, that gaping chest cavity, and his size make Thor very disappointing. Coming in at number 3, we have Mattel's WWE Ultimate Edition's The Gobbledygooker. When trying to articulate his arms, they pop off. I'm not joking. You try to even articulate his arms in any direction, his arms just pop off way too easy. Add to it, he has virtually no ankle articulation and does make standing him rather difficult. The fact that he comes with a great figure like Undertaker is rather disappointing because Gobbledygooker was teased for several years and I would have expected better out of Mattel. Coming in at number 2, we have the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Super Superheroes Pan. This figure is horrendous in terms of scale and proportions. I have no idea what Bandai was thinking with this figure. Some people might say her size is the reason they oversized her head, but if we can get figures like Anya Forger who is in scale with the rest of her line, why couldn't they do that here with Pan? And because Pan doesn't really scale well with any Dragon Ball figure, she does make the top 10 most disappointing figures of 2023. And the most disappointing figure of 2023 is the Star Wars Black Series Grogu. This has got to be the worst example of what a company should do when making a figure. Not only was this not the throw-in with another character, this is its own dedicated figure. I'm all for getting Grogu in packs with like Mando or Luke Skywalker, even Ahsoka, but this is just unacceptable. This figure is not only disappointing, but it is terrible. This is and should be the #1 figure on every collector's list. Nobody should go with this Grogu. So there you have it, my loyal Dragonites, my worst / most disappointing figures of 2023. Hope you found it enjoyable. Do you agree with my list? Are there other figures you think I should have thrown on this list? As always, let me know down in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think was the worst figure of 2023. So with these disappointments out of the way, be on the lookout for my top 10 figures of 2023, which is just right around the corner. And until next time, my fellow Dragonites coming from the Dragon Den, I'm King of Dragons 5000, reminding you to redesign, rebuild, don't buy these figures, and reclaim. I'll see you next time.